the genesis idea is that you start out with certain characteristics, which we can talk about more if people are interested. That then creates an organization of considerable success probably, and people start to tell you, at least in some ways, you're doing very well, but there may be flaws in the governance. My feeling was that there was hubris in leadership, often in the entire culture of these companies, and perhaps in their entire industries. There was a gap between what senior people knew and should know. There was a growing blocking of the negative noises or negative data, and people just stopped paying attention to the warning signs. Then a crisis occurs. It could be externally generated, as with COVID, which is, I think, revealed in Warren Buffett's words that a lot of people are swimming naked in terms of business model or brand, but various kinds of crises. And I looked at a lot of them. So I did a study of all the, having been through and run some crisis investigations myself in the companies I worked in and as a consultant. I then started looking at all the data and all the information and waded through all these long reports. And what you see is there's certain common features to it. And this hubris idea is actually there, whether it's named as such, in almost all the background. And then you get into what actually happens in a crisis. And this stage of nemesis, when a nemesis is this stage which we don't talk about, but there is this public shaming, betrayal, reputational failure, perhaps even a point of organizational failure. So if you're really— Is this
where the big headlines come?
Yeah, and this is game over for some people. So if you're a Carillion, it's game over at this point. Especially if you run out of money, or you run out, or if you're Anderson, you run out of trust in that, then you just become unemployable. And then there's this urgent desire, and I think this will probably affect a lot of the people on this call, to get involved in, get us out of this, make this go away, make the press stop being nasty to us, get the share price up. So my theory is that the metamorphosis is often not good enough. A good metamorphosis will lead to catharsis, which is forgiveness, a societal forgiveness, the forgiveness of your customers, your governments, your stakeholders. A bad metamorphosis, which is often what people do, is just a whitewashing exercise or a cover up, or here's some new leaders. Then the old leaders were the bad leaders, and here are the new good leaders, and they'll be fine. And you tell the press a nice story about what you're going to do on the transformation of the company, and off you go. But all too often, the whole thing rolls around again because the culture hasn't changed enough. So this idea was that metamorphosis is a really difficult thing to do because it involves taking some risks. And I talk in the book about real metamorphosis in the animal kingdom, don't forget. The real metamorphosis, you actually liquidize your whole body using, caterpillar turns into a butterfly, but it's a very dangerous state.